Welcome to the Empowerpreneurs podcast, all about building a business and life you love by doing it on your terms. I'm your host, Kaina, founder of Sonikai, and every week you will learn how to create more income, freedom, and impact with strategies, inspirational stories, tips, and good vibes only. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out, and let's get started. Hello, empowerpreneurs, and welcome to today's podcast about being unstoppable to live a life of creation. I have the honor to welcome Tina Brigley today, who is a TedX speaker, breakthrough results coach, and courageous leader. After growing a multi-million-dollar international coaching business, she realized that the mountain she had been climbing and the happiness she was seeking wasn't actually a destination. Listening to her heart and going back home to her essence helped her see life as a journey and playing full out in the name of the game. She helps people step into their courage, own their voices, and be a stand for what's possible in their lives and relationship. I am very grateful to have Tina as one of the 18 industry leaders speaking at the Empowered Within Online Summit from May the 23rd to the 25th for diverse women who are part-time or full-time entrepreneurs and who are really looking to change their lives in a positive direction through learning, inspiration, and genuine connections with other female leaders. If you're ready to elevate your income, impact, and freedom this year and learn from industry leaders exactly how to make this happen for you, then this is a live summit that you can't miss. Make sure to secure your spot today at sonikai.com or in the description. All right, I wish you a great episode and let's welcome Tina.
Thank you for having me.
Can you start by introducing yourself, talking a little bit about who you are, what your background is?
Yeah, well, it's really interesting because I'm in the middle of a whole bunch of changes right now. So I was co-founder of an international coaching company called High Performing Coach. And for the last 3 years, I've spent my time building that business. And recently I woke up with the realization I'm not supposed to be here, which is really crazy. People are asking me, you own this company, it's successful, you're making a big impact in the world. And I just realized one day, I was really tapping into a lot of my masculine energy. I was hustling and grinding and running nonstop. And when I slowed down, I realized, okay, there's something that's out of alignment. Mm-hmm. And I really, really want to empower women to step into their leadership. And in order for me to do that fully, I had to step into my leadership and take the bold stand for my life and walk away from big corporate, even though I was part of, the founding team, and really start living my life on my terms. So that's what I've been doing. I help women step into their leadership and own their feminine power. We can build businesses and run families and take time for ourselves as well. And it's okay. So that's a little bit about what I've been up to lately. I was a former special education teacher. So it's crazy how many changes have happened in the last 4 years of my life.
Yeah, like change is happening and again and again. And sometimes you look at, oh my God, it's been 3 months already, or it's been like 4 years already. And all of this has changed. Like what?
So much. I can't even keep up with the changes in my own life. It's just been crazy and alive and exciting.
What would you say was the difference between tapping into your masculine energy and tapping into your feminine energy?
Yeah, I feel masculine energy is very much hustle, grind, push, run. And I felt like for the last 5 years of my life, I've been doing that. But inside the femininity, the feminine energy is ease and flow. And I didn't know how to have ease and flow because everything seemed so urgent. I got to build this business. I got to do well. I got to reach this top of the mountain. And then when I got to the proverbial top of the mountain, I realized there is no top of the mountain. And in this quest to try and find it and run my way up this hill, I just asked myself, is there an easier way? Yeah, there is. Being in this state of flow, which is completely aligned with your true purpose and your true passion. And when I realized I was only coaching 2 days a month, 4 hours a week, and the rest of the time I was running a business. Like, who is that? Who I am? Am I a business owner or am I a coach? And what do I want to be in life? And I want to be a coach. I want to transform lives. And I thought, okay, but it's like anything. You're in a relationship where you go to school for 5 years and you get a degree and you're in this job. You're like, well, wait a minute. I have this degree and now I have to be a teacher. No, you don't. So here I am running this business and feeling most days, I don't even want to get out of bed. What is my purpose here? What am I doing? Yes, I'm making an impact, but can I make a bigger impact?
And being your most authentic self.
Yeah. And really, it's really inauthentic when you're telling people something that you don't actually believe in. Like I would always say to people, you got to work hard, you got to sacrifice. But in my heart, my true essence, I was asking myself, is that the truth? Does it really have to be this hard? Is there another way? And I didn't really know because I didn't know any other way. I had to discover it. I had to discover what it's like to be in ease and flow and to slow down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been very, very interesting. When I look back at the last 2 years, I can count on 2 hands how many times I actually took a lunch break during the day. And I know there are people that are listening that are thinking, that's me too. Like I just work, eat at my desk.
Yeah.
Why? Why do we do this? What are we trying to prove?
This is true. I think that when you're in the grind mode and the hustle mode, you're just like, okay, anything else than working is taking my time. And so even taking care of your body, taking care of yourself, like your body is your fuel. And if you neglect it, then your energy is going to be so down that you won't be able to, do your business correctly and serve other people and everything. And so I remember it used to be this way too. Like even spending time with my family kind of became a moment where I thought, well, I'm losing my time right now because I'm not focusing on my business right now. And it was crazy to me to now seeing it and watching this back. I'm just like, whoa, okay. So even time for myself, it was useless for me. And so when you're actually coming back to your feminine side and feminine energy of, okay, what is it that I truly desire, but also making sure that it's aligned and also that I can rest and have time with my family, with the people that I love, and with even myself. So now, like, it's Monday. If you don't feel like working, just don't. Sometimes with your business, you actually have this freedom of not working. And so oftentimes it's us telling yourself, well, no, you should be working. It's Monday. Hello, wake up. And so when you have this power to actually own your power and say to yourself, no, today I choose to rest, and my business isn't going to be disappearing because I'm not there. Like, honestly.
Isn't that such a false story that we tell ourselves? If I don't show up, the people will go away. If I don't show up, I won't have a business. And so many times we've been programmed to believe that, your business, work hard. It's like, where are those messages coming from though? Traditionally there's been a lot of men in business, and that is the masculine way. Right. And so, I only knew what I knew. There weren't a lot of women role models that I could look up to. I found a few that I thought, okay, they're amazing. But then when I noticed, they had a lot of masculine energy, but the one thing that they did differently is they were taking a week out of the month off. They were taking weekends off. They're stopping work at 3 p.m. So they're hustling, they're grinding, they're pushing, they're moving for 8 hours a day. And then they were done. And then they would tap into their feminine and spend time with their family, the same thing that you're talking about. And I remember it really hit me one day. My 11-year-old daughter, she grabbed me by the cheeks and she's like, Mom. And we have this thing where we say permission to offend. Like, I'm going to say something and it's going to hurt your feelings, but do I have permission? She's like, Mom, permission to offend. I said, okay, I'm ready for it. And she said, most of the time it's like you're here and not here. Just be with me.
Yeah.
And that just hit me in my heart at such a deep, deep level. I mean, first of all, for an 11-year-old to notice that, to express what she needs and what she wants. It was a beautiful experience. It was a little bit triggering, right? Because I had to be responsible that, yes, that is her experience. I get to be responsible for that. But it also really helped me see what is important. If growing a business and losing your family, losing your connection with other people that are important to you, if that happens, why are we even doing what we're doing? And then for me,
we're here for freedom, and then we're just locking ourselves.
Exactly. And for me, there's only a short window of time where we get to be with our children. Then they grow up and they have families of their own. And then, so many times I think, what happened? You grew up so quickly. There isn't a lot of time. And I was just wasting my time hustling and grinding. And it was hard for me to not make myself wrong for that, but I had to go through that in order to experience the other side.
Yeah. And you took responsibility for this. And so this is why you actually took action of, okay, this is scary because you were in a great position and you were impacting other and everything, but you knew that you could be doing something greater, something that was more aligned with your heart instead of going with your head all the time. And so you actually, took the bold action to, quit and do the thing that feels so much you. And now you can say that you're fulfilled. Like, what changed?
Yeah, I think that, in my heart, it's like, let's start a global movement where women can actually own their feminine power. I believe truly women run the world. Yeah. They just don't believe that they do yet. But I'm really committed that because I've went through this experience of growing a multi-million-dollar business and then getting to the top, or, there was no top. The next top would be multi-8 figures, then multi-9 figures. It's like, when is enough money enough? When is enough impact enough? So I feel like there is a movement that we get to start where women get to have it all. And they get to have it all with freedom and ease and flow. They get to take time off without feeling guilty. They get to let go of shame and remorse and all of those feelings. And I truly believe that this is a new era. And I want to lead the way.
I believe it too.
I do. I feel like everything I've done, everything that I've experienced has led me right here. Yeah. And I realize the one thing that we need in order to step into this is courage. And with courage, everything is available. And when we stick together, we got this.
Yeah. The more I work with women, the more I understand what collective mean. And I'm just like, whoa. I was always someone who was used to walk by herself and do everything by herself. So all of my business by myself and everything. And then I just kind of started realizing that I needed this support. I needed to be surrounded by like-minded women that knew what I was going through, that were leading with me. Like, we are not alone. First of all, you have you're co-creating your reality, but all the women, I think this is what's special we have, is that when we have a connection, it's a deep one. It's not just us collaborating just for, okay, what can you do for me? And here's what I do for you. It's also we are creating a deep, deep connection that I think is so beautiful when you get to experience that and you're just like, oh my God, yes, that's what I was like looking for. And that's what I was hoping for when I started doing coaching and when I started embodying my higher self is me being able to impact other, but mostly also to be able to learn from other, to be able to support each other and create connections. Like I watched I read my journal. I think it was yesterday, and it was written. I think I read it. I wrote that like maybe a year ago, and I saw like I would love to meet other women in coaching and in entrepreneurship and everything, and I would love to have a deeper connection with them. And today it's happening, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, oh my God. Unconsciously, it was like out of my mind that I wanted this. And when I read my journal, I was just like, oh, okay, it was there all along.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's what I'm hearing you say too is I think we're getting rid of this competition and
Yeah,
replacing it with connection.
exactly.
And I think we've been programmed to see each other as competition, to see each other as enemies. And
Mm,
it's actually the opposite. We're better together. I
yeah.
really truly believe that. And I know when I was stepping down from my position in my organization, and things were a little bit rocky in the beginning, right, with the transition. But so many women reached out to me saying, listen, I have this resource, I have this connection, I have this, let's do this, I'll put you on my website. I mean, all of these women came together to support me. And I thought, man, I had
Mhm.
this kind of thing that showed up like, what did I do to deserve this? Like, this is amazing. And somebody said to me, you've been supporting all of us for 5 years, consistently giving your value. We want to support you. And being able to allow that in and allow it to flow and really see that there was no competition, there was no, yeah, good, she's failing, and that's the story I think that we have sometimes, that
Yeah.
people want us to fail. It's
Yeah.
like, no, I think there's a shift. People want us to succeed.
Yeah.
They want us to grow. And it was just such a beautiful, beautiful outpouring of support. And people were just, what are you creating now? If you're leaving something so amazing, it's because whatever you're creating is even bigger.
Mm.
What is that? And so the last 3 weeks, this is my first podcast interview since I left my business. And
Oh,
yeah, I've been off social media. I've
oh
been in the
wow.
background. Like, I left my
I'm
business. I left
honored.
my husband. I left I bought a new house. I'm in a total life transformation, at the deepest, deepest level, internally, externally.
Yeah.
And, and this is the other thing. Sometimes we get to honor our needs and our wants. And what I would normally do in the past is keep plugging, keep moving forward, keep growing despite what's going on in your life. And this time I thought, you know what? I want some time to just sit with my feelings, sit with my needs and my
Mm.
desires, and take my time really thinking about what is it that I want moving forward? What does it look like? What does it feel like? How do I want to live? How do I want to feel every single day? Who do I want to work with? What is it that I feel that I can contribute to them? I needed time to just sit with all of it.
Hmm.
And, so yeah, this is my first guest appearance.
I love that. I'm so honored. That's so
Yeah.
cool. And I think I saw that like it's a part of your Dharma phase, kind of researching and like the idea phase and everything. Then you have the phase of hustling, of creating, and actually doing the work and taking action. And then you have the reflection phase that is really important because oftentimes people stay in the phase two of keeping the work and working and working and working without taking the time off, which lead to actually burnout and overwhelm. And
Mm.
so when you actually take that time to reflect and really rest and, okay, what happened, and take a step back to see it from a different point of view, so that you
Mm.
can either restart from with a better food, or you can actually implement the things that you haven't already, or things like that. So it's really important to have this reflection phase.
Yeah, it's for me, it's been life changing, really. And, it's interesting because I said, my I sold my house and I'm moving to a new house and I'm getting a divorce and leaving my business partners. And like my husband and I have been separated for 4 months. We still live in the same home. We're still sleeping in the same bed. We helped each other find a house. We helped each other, move, and people are like, what's it like? Is it, is there a lot of, negative emotions and stuff? And it's like, no, it's peace because
Coming
we
from a
get to
place of
create.
love. Yeah.
Yeah, we get to create our life. So we also get to create how this process goes. We get to create the space of, yeah, we have some mixed feelings, emotions. Some are negative, some are positive. But at the same time, we're really owning our own feelings, thoughts, and emotions, and trying not to project blame onto each other. And when we catch each other doing that, we just deal with it. And people ask us, well, how did we do that? How do you create so much peace in such a turbulent time? Like, well, I say, consider turbulent time as a story.
Mm.
This is just a new phase. This is a transition. And we are choosing for it to not be turbulent. We're choosing for it to be peaceful. So this is a peaceful time of transition. What, Tina? That doesn't even make sense. Like, divorces are messy and ugly. And
Yeah, but you
why?
get to choose how the experience is going. If you go into a divorce and like have this story in your head of, oh, it's going to be bad, it's going to go really bad and messy and everything, and I'm going to be losing this and this, and you get from a scarcity mindset, you go
Yes.
in this thinking that it's going to go like bad. But if you're in this place of peace within you, and how can we best support each other through this, and how can we best learn from this and grow from this.
Yeah, and it's not perfect. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that at all. There are days where emotions are high and frustrations are high, but we just acknowledge that. We don't take it personally, and we physically take space.
Yeah,
Well, I'll
so
go.
important.
Yeah, I've rented an Airbnb for a couple days, and I'm like, I am a golden bitch right now. Like, I need to check myself before I wreck myself. So I'm just gonna go take a couple days to just get present to who I am, and that's all a part of creating healthy boundaries for yourself and others. And one of the things that we really take on with Velocity is being 100% responsible. There is no blame. The only finger we can point is the one right towards us, because
Exactly.
blame is just looking outside of ourselves, and it's never outside of ourselves, even though it looks like it,
Yeah.
even though it feels like it. It's not. It's always in. So and how you show up in one area of life is likely the way you show up in most areas of life.
Mhm.
So I thought, who do I want to be in this process? I don't want to be a phony baloney. I don't want to tell others to lead their lives, have freedom and ease, and not practice it myself.
Yeah.
Even when the, crap storm is all around us, that's when we get to practice um, being. And life is always going to throw stuff our way. It's not always going to be easy and rosy. There's going to be death, and there's going to be trauma, and there's going to be upsets and frustrations and setbacks. But we always get to choose who we get to be when life is happening, always. And, this state of well-being, I believe, is not always rosy. It's not always fairy, unicorns and rainbows and, oh, everything's great. And I say, let's BS. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. This has been a hard transition for me, but then it's not always super hard either. And I think well-being is a balance. It's dealing with what's so in front of you and acknowledging, yeah, I feel disempowered. I feel frustrated. I feel annoyed. And it's okay to have those strong emotions. But where it becomes a problem is when we blame others for our strong emotions. I feel annoyed because you're this or you're that, or you did this. No, it's not that way. I feel annoyed because I'm upset. Yeah, I'm upset with myself that I allowed this to happen for so long. I'm upset because I didn't step up my leadership 20 years ago when I probably could have. I'm upset because I didn't express myself. I didn't communicate how I was really feeling. I'm upset because X, Y, and Z, because and I think when we start practicing that, I'm upset because I'm frustrated because putting that I there really gives us a sense of power, because
when responsibility also.
Yeah, when we're blaming others, we give them our power. We're saying, you have the power to make me feel this way. You have the power to control my thoughts, feelings, and emotions. No way. I never want to give anybody that power. I want to keep it always. and that's how I live, being responsible, because that gives me power.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's really great. And I think it's when you're actually taking the responsibility off you, you're just letting the person have the power over you and be like, yeah, well, then let me just control you. Then if you think that this is my fault, then let me control you even more. And it's like, take responsibility for your actions. And even when I hear people say, well, I was upset, so I did this to you and everything because I was upset, or I lied to you because I thought that you were going to be upset. And no. Take responsibility for your actions.
Yeah.
Stop saying that this is because blah, blah, blah. No, that's bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, 1,000,000%. And I know when there was a breakdown with my business partners and the whole transition, it felt like a blind side, where there's like a Mack truck that comes from out of nowhere and just hits you. And it's like, man, that Mack truck like just came out of nowhere. It's like, did it really come out of nowhere? Or like, did you happen to step in front of it? And in the thick of it, sometimes it's really challenging to be responsible. Because you really can look for evidence that it is out there, over there with somebody. But what I realized is I was doing that for a week, 2 weeks, like really like, you did this and you did that. And why didn't you do this? And why didn't you say that? And I just felt so negative. I had no energy. I felt lifeless. I felt like a shell of, who I am. And that's when I realized, oh my gosh, it's because I'm not being responsible. But it's really, really hard. When you get hit hard, it's a practice. Okay. So anybody listening right now, it's not easy. And you will fall and you will blame and you will whatever, however you show up. We're human beings living a human experience. And we have generations of programming of how we should behave and act in situations like that. So we're fighting against the grain, really. We're fighting against programming. We're fighting against generational stuff that we've been taught. And it's hard to really sit in that and do things differently than what we know to be true.
Yeah,
it takes a high level of awareness. And at the end of the day, I really, really, truly believe it boils down to self-love. My daughter will complain sometimes, right? And she plays volleyball and somebody will say something to her and she'll get really upset. And there was like this, anyways, it's a long story short, but somebody was teasing her, making fun of her eyebrows and saying she had a mustache. And I said, if you believe those things to be true, you'll get upset.
Yeah.
If you don't believe that that's true, you'd look at them like, what? You are crazy. Like, there's nothing wrong with my eyebrows. I don't have a mustache. I'm pretty awesome. See, that self-love.
Yeah.
If it's not present and somebody slights you or says things to you, if part of you believes that it's true, you'll get upset.
Mm-hmm.
And
they
that's
will
why
keep going.
Yeah. And that's why I believe it all boils down to real, genuine self-love, where anything can be said to you. And if you just don't believe that that's true, you can let it roll off like, water. You just let it. But what most of us don't have self-love. And so we walk around being very triggered by people's comments because we believe them to be true.
Yeah.
It's like, what if the opposite were true? What if you unconditionally looked at yourself in the mirror, told yourself how much you love yourself, how amazing you are? It wouldn't matter what anybody says. We would just be like, that has nothing to do with me. That has everything to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a practice, and it takes something to just generate yourself to be in that loving, unconditional space. But I believe that until we get to that place, it's really hard for us to love anybody else too. Like
This
really,
is true,
truly,
yeah.
unconditionally, right? It starts from within.
And what do living a life of creation means to you?
Yeah. So I say that your world, your life is based on your reality. Right. And when I talk about living a life of creation, if you don't like the life you're living, change your reality, change your view. See, because we're always looking for evidence about what life is for us, and we'll find it everywhere. But when we create it, it's like, how do you want to experience life? How do you want to feel? And what are the actions we get to take in order to step into that created life? I think far too many times we just say, this is the way it is. I am the way that I am. My life is the way that it is. We give our power away. We feel this loss of control. I'm not successful in business. I'll never be successful. I'll never this. I'll never that. And it's like, well, that is the life you are creating by your thoughts, your behaviors, your patterns. But what if you shift your thoughts? What if you shifted your reality? What if you are willing to believe that you can be successful in business, and you can create clients, and you can create health and well-being, and you can create amazing relationships? Well, if you believe that, now you start taking those actions to get it. But no, most people do not want to do the work to have a created life. They just don't.
Because it's so easy to blame on other things than to blame yourself, because you are the creator of your life, believe it or not. You are. And so it's either you accept it, or it's either you actually take action and try to, embody this version of you who can do it all, instead of, and this goes back to also what we said, like in the beginning. You can either find like someone's life awesome and be like, she's having it all, how lucky she is. Or you can either have this perspective of and shifting it into, that's interesting. I noticed that I really want what she has. So this is possible for me. Because if it's like in your thoughts, if it comes to you, then it means that it's actually available to you. Because as an example, if I see maybe an astronaut life, I wouldn't be in this state of, I want his life. I would be like, that's so cool. That's really nice. I don't really know if I would be really up for it, but it's cool. But if I see the life of someone and I'm just like, oh my God, this is like making me feel something, and even jealousy. I know that I used to have to be jealous on social media and have these sabotaging behaviors of following people who I thought I was not great. I had to shift, and it took time, honestly. I have to shift to, first of all, if you have someone making you feel like shit, unfollow them. That's the easiest thing you can do. But mostly observe it.
Yes.
Okay, so when you're seeing her life, when you're seeing what they're doing, observe your feelings, observe your thoughts. What are your thoughts? And observe what do you want and what do you wish and what do you desire. And so you will know what's missing in your life. But
Mhm.
mostly keep in mind that if this is possible for them, it's possible for you, no questions asked, honestly. And so
Yeah.
it's like you will find clues to everything you're thinking. So if you think that it's not possible, then you will find all the clues for it. If you
Yes.
believe that it is possible, you will also find all the clues that you need to actually know and believe that it is possible.
Yeah. I mean, for every problem, there's always a solution,
Hmm.
but the solutions take work.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like I look at people on Instagram doing all these amazing reels, and I'm like, man, that is so cool. I would love to do that. And then I sit back and I'm like, well, why aren't I doing it?
Hmm.
It's too much work. I don't have time for that. All the reasons and BS excuses. I don't have time. I don't have the resources. I don't have the energy. I don't have the money. It's just lies we
Hmm.
tell ourselves to not be in action. And people sometimes get so pissed off. And I'm like, good. When you hear my words, get angry and do something about it. Like my job is not to make you feel good. My job is to wake you up. My job is to offend you to the point where you want to take new actions. And I do it with love because I want people to step into their power. I want them to notice the lies that they're telling themselves. Those reasons and excuses are lies to keep us safe, to keep us hiding. And in order for us to rise, we got to be willing to notice the lies we're telling ourselves and then be willing to let them go and step up, be willing to do the work. And this is why I say we got to start stepping into our feminine energy as well, because yes, doing the work, making money, making changes in your health, you have to, making changes in your relationships. It's hustle, it's grind, it's work. But then the benefit is sitting back and enjoying the fruits of your labor, being in flow, being in a state of bliss, of, having so much peace in your heart. It takes work to get there, but it's so worth it. And people say, well, how do you know these things? How do you know that it's true? There is nothing I haven't been through in my life, nothing. And I say that truly in my heart. People would be like, oh, yep, that happened to me. Yep, that happened too. Yep, 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 yep. And it's like, okay, how long are we going to let our past dictate our future?
And define ourselves. Yeah.
How long are we going to let other people's opinions of us create our reality?
And
How
even our
long?
condition.
We are conditioned. How do we break the conditioning? We got to be slapped in the face a few times, not physically, but like really with our words. You take the hit and then look inwards. And I think you said that earlier too, like notice, just
Hmm.
notice,
Observe. Yeah.
because I really do believe that we all have a burning flame inside of us. That I call it our essence. Our essence is who we are supposed to be in this world. But as life happens at a very early age, it's like we put this wall around us, this protective layer, guarding our essence, keeping
Hmm.
us safe and protective. It's a false sense of security. It's a false security blanket. Really, what it's doing is holding us back and chaining us down. And so when we start noticing, when we start paying attention to those thoughts, those feelings, those emotions, the things that trigger us, what we do is we start breaking the chains.
Hmm.
And then we start removing the barriers, the false protection.
Hmm.
Triggers are beautiful. Triggers are there to help us transform something that is going to get us closer to our essence. We cannot do this on our own. That's why people need people like you, people like me, coaches who have done the work, who
Hmm.
have ripped themselves apart,
Yeah.
because that's what it takes. You had coaching. I had coaching.
Yeah.
We can't get to the source because it's too protected. It's too covered. And people are like, no, I can do this on my own. No, that's another lie you're telling yourself.
Yeah.
It is a lie. You cannot, because you can't see what's hiding in your blind spots.
Mm-hmm.
We just can't, because our blind spots are there to protect us.
Yeah.
They're hidden from our view, because if we see these things, we get closer to our essence.
Yeah.
But that's not a safe place to be.
Mm-hmm. And
We
your brain
risk,
will always find excuses to go away from those, honestly.
yeah.
So,
Because we risk, me not being afraid to offend people. I'm risking offending. I'm risking backlash. I'm risking people saying you don't know anything. I'm risking dealing with people's triggers. But for me, I love dealing with people's triggers, because I know where there's a trigger, there's a story. Where there's a story, there's a pattern. Where there's a pattern, there's a chain. And if I can break that chain, I just freed you. How freaking cool is that? Get triggered all you want, because it's in my clearing that I'm going to help you transform your life and get to your essence. It's my job. It's the reason for my existence. It's the reason why I did thousands of hours of training and development to help others.
And I love it. And this is why I keep investing in myself. And it's not just monetary, it's also like my time, my commitment. It's so much more than just investing your money, because I see a lot of women doing this. You buy a course or you work with a coach and then you just stop.
Yep.
Because you're afraid, because your mind, and this comes also to self-worth. Because when you keep promises to yourself, when you're actually doing what you promise yourself to do, then you keep going. And when you're not doing it, actually mean that you have also low self-worth. You find ways to show yourself, okay, see, I cannot do it. See, I'm not worthy enough to actually go through the program and implement what I've learned. And so the more you keep showing up, the more you will keep the promises that you did to yourself, the more your self-worth will increase, because you will be like, well, I can do it. Yes, it's possible for me, and it's available to me, and it's believe in yourself. And it's not easy, okay? That's not something, well, you get up in the morning and this is right. You finally believe in yourself. It takes development. But when you feel this trigger, when you feel that there is something of resistance, good. It means that you're going on in the right way. But now you have to actually let this resistance go, like let go of this resistance and do the inner development that you need in order to go through this trigger and go through this resistance. And this is where you find growth. Because if it was too easy, if everything was like in a blink of an eye, you have it, then there won't be challenges and there won't be like lessons to learn, and there won't be growth. So take this adversity to actually be, okay, I'm grateful for this, because I am going to be learning so much from this, and I'm going to be doing, like, I am growing every single day, and I'm very, very grateful for this, because a few years ago I wasn't this way. A few years ago I wouldn't have allowed myself to even start this journey.
Yes. Yeah, it's the proof is in the action.
Yeah.
So many times people say to me, but Tina, I read this book, it changed my life. No, consider the book didn't change your life. The actions you took as a result of reading the book changed your life. Because just reading a book isn't going to change your life. You read a book, you took actions, and you created new habits that changed your life. Tina, I've been listening to this podcast. It's changing my life. No, it's not changing your life. You're taking actions aligned with the strategies that people are giving you. And it's really, really empowering when we start seeing that really everything we want is available in the actions that we take. That's it. You want something? Guess what? All you get to do is take some actions. Like I am terrible lately with my diet. I mean, I'm skipping meals. I'm not drinking as much water. Like I'm a certified health coach, for the love of God. Like, I know exactly what to do. And I mean, I can read every book on the shelf right now and know
Yeah.
why it benefits me, why it's so good. But if I never take the action, if I don't make it a priority, if I don't put myself as a priority, it'll just be a really good idea. It's a really great idea to meditate every day, or, it's a really great idea to eat breakfast and drink a gallon of water every day. Yeah. But just take the actions. And if we're not in action, we got to start asking ourselves, why? Why is it not important for us? What are the other things we're prioritizing more than ourselves? And what are the lies we're telling ourselves? It takes too much time. Like I look at myself, I am the first one to tell one on myself. I promise you. I sat on the couch last night, Monday night. We're recording this on Easter Monday. I watched so much Netflix that the pop-up came, "Are you still watching?" I'm like,
Do that
yes,
too.
yes,
It
I
happens to
am.
me.
I don't do it all the time. But then I would say, oh man, I can't actually say I didn't have time to exercise, or
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
true.
have time to meal prep, or I didn't have time to drink water. If I watched 4 hours of Netflix, I had time for all of those things, but I didn't make it a priority. And what we do is we make ourselves wrong and guilt ourselves, shame ourselves. It's like, no, just notice it. Okay, so I watched 4 hours of Netflix. That's what happened.
Yeah.
And that's not a right or a wrong thing. It's just
Hmm.
is.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
like, come on now. Why do we got to be perfect and have this perfect diet and this perfect relationship and this perfect business strategy and perfect?
Yeah.
It's like,
Perfect
okay,
time
come on.
managing and everything. This is why I hate seeing accounts say, well, instead of watching Netflix, read a book. Instead of going out with your friends, stay at home and work on your business. And I'm just like, when is the time where I can have fun?
Yeah.
Honestly, where is the time where I can just, you know, be myself, like my crazy self? I don't know. Like, where is the time that I can rest? And I'm just no. And if I
All
don't
the
want to wake
rules.
up at 5 a.m., at 5 a.m., I don't. Like, honestly, I wake up at 9, sometimes even 10, because I make my own rules and I decide if is for me, is waking up at 5 a.m. is really something that helps me in my life, or does it even serves me? If it doesn't, then what's the matter? I can get up at 9 if I want to get up earlier. But it's just like some people say like you should be doing this and that and blah blah blah, and it's not a reason for you to actually implement every single thing that you're seeing, because that's not possible. And so it's focused on the things that you can have like prioritize, and then if you want to focus on the other one, another one, but mostly what feels good to you.
Yes.
Does it feel aligned? If it doesn't, then just don't do it. It's like the same with posting 5 reels a day. I see that on some accounts of Instagram experts saying, well, you should be posting 5 reels a day. And I'm just like, this doesn't align with me. And it doesn't align with my clients either, because, well, I always have clients who I teach. Well, you just do what feels aligned. Of course, there are strategies and everything, but if those strategies makes you feel like, I hate it, then you just don't do it,
Yeah.
because then it will just be so much resistance and it won't work and it will lead you to burnout. So observe
Yeah.
everything.
It's like the whole bandwagon, right? Jump on the bandwagon. Somebody said, do 5 reels a day.
Yeah.
Everybody jumps on the bandwagon. And then
Yeah.
when everybody jumps on the bandwagon, then they're like, oh, wait a minute. The algorithms changed. And,
Yeah.
because everybody's doing 5 reels a day, go back to one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go back to one. And it's like, we're playing this game of yo-yo, like what works for one It doesn't work for all. And I love that you're saying that. It's okay. When did we give up our mind? When did we give up our beliefs? When did we give up what works for us and our power? And this is what I'm talking about. Like reclaim your feminine power is about, don't toot to anybody else's horn. I don't even know if that's a saying, but yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you get to do you.
Yeah.
What works for you. There's always going to be recommendations. It's like when people do my program, they'll say, I followed your program to a T, like a recipe, and I didn't resonate with this, or I didn't feel this. Then why would you do it? Well, because you told me
say
to.
the same to my clients within my program. I just say, well, I'm teaching you guys what I've learned or things that I've worked for me and for other clients. But if it doesn't resonate with you, just don't do it. Do it your way, or just like message me and we can find another way. But just don't do every single thing that I'm teaching you. Like, if it doesn't resonate, it doesn't resonate. That's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you won't have success.
Yeah. I say, like, I'm going to share with you what worked for me.
Yeah.
And that just because it worked for me doesn't necessarily mean it might work for you. It might not work for you. You can try it out. You can see. And if it works, great. If it fits, great. If it doesn't, make it always make it your own, and just notice what you're resisting. And it's all really about noticing. See, all these programs, what you're doing, what I'm doing, what other coaches are doing, a lot of them are very, very similar. It's not the program. It's not the program. And for those of you that are listening, it's the coaching that makes a difference. It's noticing what comes up while you're doing anything new. And there's always a stretch in anything that's new, right? Because you're stepping outside your comfort zone. And it's noticing what shows up for you when you're doing something new, when you're creating new habits. So I say, don't be attached to the program or the recipe for the program and doing it a certain way. Be more attached to noticing how you show up when you're following any program, noticing your resistance, noticing where you're giving your power away, noticing how you show up in conversations. Are you a people pleaser? Are you a controller? Are you an analyzer? Are you a promoter? You like to have fun, but you never follow through. Notice everything, because that's where the gold is.
I love that. And where this is gold.
Yeah, exactly.
This episode is gold.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing when we're willing to just to look within.
And what do you do to become unstoppable?
So, I mean, that's a loaded question. You should probably ask me, what don't I do to be unstoppable? Because, I mean, there's a lot of things. I don't step over anything in my life. I don't step over hard conversations. So what that means is I take on every single conversation, even if it's challenging. I take on personal development with velocity. I'm rarely without a coach or without practicing being in the conversation, a personal development. I don't compromise. I don't settle for less than anything. And I don't settle for things that don't serve me. If I don't, a lot of people will spend time with people that don't really make them feel good. But I've been friends with them for years. I really don't spend time with people that I don't enjoy their company when I feel more drained. And that might be challenging because there have been people that I've had to let go of in order to honor myself. And the main thing that I do to be unstoppable is I really take on my fears, because I know it's in the fears that you develop courage. So if something is really scary, I do it anyways. Courage is big for me. Responsibility is big. Integrity is big. Acknowledging when you're out of integrity in your life. I try to live my life acknowledging where I'm being inauthentic, and I feel that the only difference between an authentic person and an inauthentic person is an authentic person knows when they're being inauthentic. And, me going through all of these life transitions and showing up online, contributing, being like my usual bubbly self, that would be so BS. Because inside, I'm working out my own feelings and emotions. I'm dealing with my own stuff. That is authentic. I need time for me. That is authentic. Pretending that I don't is BS, and I really, to be unstoppable, you got to give up the pretenses. Stop being bullshit in your life. Stop pretending that everything is great and everything is fine. Acknowledge what isn't. Work on those things. That's how you become unstoppable, taking them all on. And so many people, I'm like, so what's your biggest challenge in your life right now? Nothing. My life is actually perfect. Then you're not playing a big enough game. If everything in your life is perfect, you are playing a small game. Now you can lie and you can tell me whatever you want. You can justify in your mind, but it is BS. If you are playing a big game in life, there's going to be a stretch. There's going to be discomfort. There's going to be some misalignment, because that is the pattern in life. We all have seasons. And when we're not acknowledging that, and that's okay. I'm not making anyone wrong, because most people, ordinary people, are okay with status quo. They're okay with being fine. But extraordinary leaders are willing to step out of fine.
True.
And that's who I talk to. Those extraordinary leaders that are like, bring it on, dig deep, get it out, get me to my essence, start chiseling, all those inauthenticities and those pretenses, like get them out of me, get me to my essence. That's who I'm talking to. I'm not talking to the people that are ordinary that want to live a fine life. I just don't, because until you're really willing to get out of your own way, I don't work with people that are less. And I don't mean less than as a person, but I mean like that are just okay with mediocrity.
I see. And what is the biggest takeaway you hope my listeners get from this episode?
Oh my gosh, I hope the biggest takeaway, first of all, I hope some of you are a little bit triggered. I hope you got to look inside. And my biggest takeaway is please do not give your power away to anybody. Nobody deserves your power. Be willing to stand up for what you want and be responsible for your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And know that your life is your creation. If you don't like it, you and only you have the power to change it. Nobody else. Looking outside of you for somebody else to make you happy will never make you happy. Everything is within. And when you see it, man, the sky is the limit. Your life that you get to create is yours for the choosing.
I love it. I really hope that you take notes from this because this is really gold. And it's for every podcast, everything that you hear and learn, implement it. When I listen to podcasts, I don't take notes on everything, but when I hear something that really resonates with me or that I feel, oh my God, pull to, I take my phone and I note, because I know that I won't be maybe listening to it again and again. And if I don't, I will perhaps forget about it. But it's take notes. Like it's really, truly powerful, because then when you come back to your notes, you can implement and reflect and everything. And it's truly powerful.
Yeah. And, it's just one step, right? It's one thing. If one thing resonated, right? I really, truly believe transformation doesn't happen over time. It happens in a moment where you hear something and it just clicks. And if you heard something like, I give away my power by not expressing myself or not having, challenging conversations, then maybe the one action you get to take is have that one challenging conversation that you've been stepping over. And my friend told me this one time. She said, avoiding conflict is manufacturing fake peace. And when I heard this for the first time, I was like, oh my gosh, I wrote that down. And I realized in that moment, shoot, I need to have a powerful conversation with my business partners. I am manufacturing fake peace. There's a lot of things that aren't working for me, but I have been giving my power away because I've been not wanting to rock the boat. So her one statement resonated, but then I had to follow up with, what action must I take in order for this to really become true in my life and be transformational? I did not want to have that conversation. I did not want to stand up for myself. I did not want to be confrontational. Yet I knew that in my heart, because it resonated so much, I had to take that action. Not had to, I got to. And it really transformed me at my core.
Question that I enjoy asking, because it's like the question that everyone listening, and even the guests are like, oh, never thought of this. Who would you like to see on the podcast next?
Who would I love to see? Like a real person or a famous person?
Both.
Lately I've been loving Brene Brown. I know it's like $100,000 an hour to have her on a stage, but I love listening to her podcast. But another person in my community that I think is just extraordinary, that gives so much value. There's two people. Actually, there's multiple people. See, I feel like I have so many people. So if anybody is listening, please do not take offense that I didn't say your name, okay? Because I literally have hundreds. But Jen Whitmer is a speaker. She did a TED Talk on, she's the one that told me, when you avoid conflict, you manufacture fake peace. She does the Enneagram. She does like leadership training and stuff. So she is amazing. And then there's a relationship coach that I follow. Actually, she's a dating coach, but she's way more than that. That's amazing. Her name is Kelly Brandley. She has so much great stuff to say. I think those two women are just powerful badasses.
I love it.
Give so much gold every time they speak.
Well, thank you. And where can the listeners find you online, and how can they work with you?
Well, they can find me on LinkedIn, or they can find me on Instagram, Tina Brigley HPC, or Facebook. I'm hanging out there too. My website is under construction, but it's tinabrigley.com. My new programs will be up there, and my new podcast, and I'm in a complete rebuild phase.
I'm so excited to see all of it.
Yeah. So, but I'm, Google me and you'll find me wherever you look. So.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for all this gold that you just launched for everyone. And I'm really, really happy that you get to listen to this and feel empowered by this. And I really hope you do. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been such a pleasure. It's been a great conversation, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you doing this for so many people, making such a big impact in the world, and being a bold, unconstrained, badass leader you are.
If you enjoyed this episode, I would be so grateful for you to subscribe to the Empowerpreneur podcast and leave a review. Let me know what you enjoyed, and tell me, who would you like to see on the podcast next? I'll see you next week.